Hello, and welcome to a presentation regarding the Town of Innisfil, Carson Creek Municipal Drain Improvement Project, and an overview of the Drainage Act. My name is Jeff Dixon. I'm the project engineer for the Carson Creek Improvement Project. Also with me today is Natalie Connell, PEng, and Sid Vanderveen, PEng. On behalf of the town, as employees of RJ Burnside and Associates Limited, we are pleased to provide this digital online information and presentation. If you are watching and participating, firstly, thank you for taking the time to do so. And secondly, it is probably a result of receiving a written notice from the town pursuant to Section 9 of the Drainage Act. A formal notice, a requirement of the Act, was recently mailed to all potentially affected stakeholders within the watershed of Carson Creek. You may recall receiving a similar notice in early 2020. More on that in a moment. There will be three main parts to this digital presentation as follows. First, a few housekeeping items, including some particulars about the statutory requirement for an on-site meeting and why this presentation is to be considered in lieu thereof, as well as an introduction to the Carson Creek project. Secondly, an explanation and some history on the Carson Creek project in general, as well as an overview of how and why it is now governed by a statute of the province of Ontario, namely the Drainage Act. Third and lastly, a summary of next steps, how you can provide the town and Burnside with comments and feedback, as well as how to get answers to any questions you may have. We would like to formally inform everybody that subsequent to our appointment, in September of 2019, arrangements were made with the town and notices were processed and sent by the town in accordance with the Drainage Act for what is referred to as the on-site meeting. This was originally scheduled for March 31st, 2020 at the South Innisfil Community Center in Lefroy. Regrettably, and as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic in general, and its impact on Ontario in particular, that meeting was cancelled. Unfortunately, the pandemic continues, and we are now in what experts commonly refer to as the fourth wave. As such, restrictions governing indoor organized public events still make the hosting of an in-person on-site meeting impractical. Therefore, and in lieu of an in-person on-site meeting for Carson Creek, this digital online presentation is being provided for affected stakeholders to review. Furthermore, soliciting comments and feedback from stakeholders within the preliminary and yet to be verified watershed will be part of the process and is expected to be expanded upon and will be expanded upon later in this presentation. I will now give you a little bit of an introduction to the Carson Creek project. What you see before you is a plan of the drain and the watershed. As representatives for Burnside, the engineering firm appointed to prepare a new drainage report for Carson Creek, we have been and continue to work with the town staff in response to our September 2019 appointment by the council of the town in accordance with Section 78 of the Drainage Act to prepare a new report for Carson Creek. Carson Creek itself is located entirely within Concession 4, Geographic Township of Innisfil, now known as the Town of Innisfil. Its upstream end commences at the south side of Killarney Beach Road, at the north limit of Lot 18, Concession 3, approximately midway between Yonge Street and 20th Side Road. It extends primarily to the east, somewhat to the north, through Lot 18 and then lots 19 and 20, and passes under 20th Side Road. It continues to the east through the wooded area on Lot 21 between Green Street and Simkin Court before it passes under the Metrolinx line. After doing so, it continues east along the south side of Walter Street and passes under each of Corner, Gilmore, Carson, and Ferrier Avenue, then Ewart Street, and eventually under Berry Avenue to its outlet into Lake Simcoe. The approximate watershed, again yet to be verified on the ground, encompasses portions of lots 17 to 21 inclusive in concession 3 and portions of lots 16 to 23 inclusive in concession 4. Stakeholders are requested to please refer to the PDF version of the preliminary watershed plan that has been provided for more details on the drain location and the approximate watershed. I am now pleased to introduce Sid Vanderveen, who will walk you through a PowerPoint presentation relating to Carson Creek and an overview of the Drainage Act.
Thanks, Jeff. The purpose of this part of the presentation is to provide you with an overview of the Drainage Act and municipal drains in general, as well as the roles, rights, and responsibilities of municipalities and all involved property owners. First of all, is a municipality responsible for solving drainage problems for their residents? Many people believe that it is their responsibility, but that's actually incorrect. Municipalities are only responsible for resolving drainage issues on their own properties or relating to their own infrastructure, such as the town office, town roads, or any of their other properties. They are also responsible for managing any drainage issues that have been assigned to them through a law such as the Planning Act or the Municipal Act or the Drainage Act. But private drainage issues are not their responsibility. Then why is the town proposing to perform work on Carson Creek? Well, Carson Creek was originally a natural watercourse, but in 1961 it was an enhanced or improved under the Drainage Act. So connecting back to the previous slide, the town is proposing to do work on Carson Creek because the town has been assigned responsibility for the management of this drainage system through the Drainage Act. What's the Drainage Act and what does it do? Well, Ontario has an abundance of precipitation and that results in our streams, lakes, and rivers, but often it also results in drainage problems. To solve these problems, cooperation between neighboring property owners is usually required, and this can sometimes be difficult to obtain by agreement. The Ontario Drainage Act provides property owners experiencing these problems with a process or mechanism to solve these problems, even when cooperation with neighbors is not possible. The process is administered by the local municipality, and the cost of any system that is constructed is shared by all the property owners in the watershed. What is a watershed? A watershed is an area of land that drains or sheds water into a specific water body. The water in Carson Creek is made up of overland flow and groundwater contributions. Because of the requirements of the Drainage Act, all lands and roads in the watershed of Carson Creek Municipal Drain will be contributing to any work performed on the drain. What is the Drainage Act process? The process under the Drainage Act to establish a new municipal drain starts with a petition that must be signed by one or more property owners and is submitted to the municipality. The municipality would appoint an engineer who conducts a site meeting with the property owners and then surveys the lands. The engineer designs the drain, writes a report that provides specific details on the drain, as well as drawings. The report is submitted to the council, and council holds a meeting to consider the report. All owners have the right to appeal all aspects of the report. After the appeals are dealt with, the municipality passes a bylaw adopting the report. The drain is then constructed, and after the final costs are calculated, cost assessments are levied to individual property owners. Again, Carson Creek was established as a municipal drain in 1961 through this process. Once constructed as a municipal drain, the Drainage Act also indicates that this drainage system becomes municipal infrastructure. The municipality is responsible for managing the drainage system, even those sections of drain located on private land. In fact, in certain circumstances, the municipality can also be held liable for damages if they don't perform their duties. Based on inspections done in 2019, the town identified several problems with the Carson Creek drain. The drain appears to be adapting to flows, which is causing channel widening, erosion, and bank instability. In some areas, flow is also being restricted by fallen trees, debris, log jams, or vegetation growth in the channel. The eroded sediment that is being transported downstream and deposited into Lake Simcoe, and this is an ongoing concern of residents and of the Lake Simcoe Regional Conservation Authority, as well as the town council and staff. As a result, the town has decided to make improvements to the Carson Creek municipal drain. The process for making improvements to an existing municipal drain is very similar to the process for establishing a new municipal drain and will be detailed in the slides to follow. An improvement is any modification or addition to a municipal drain intended to increase its effectiveness. Some examples of improvements might be replacing a pipe, increasing the capacity of an existing drain, rerouting a section of an existing drain, or adding environmental protection features to a drain. Improvements or modifications to a drain can only be authorized by municipal council through a project undertaken under Section 78 of the Drainage Act. Step 1 of the improvement process is project initiation. While council always initiates improvement projects, the need for the work is usually brought to council's attention in one or two ways. First, one or more property owners identify a need for the improvement of a drainage system, or second, the town's drainage superintendent identifies the need. Step 2 is agency notification. Once council has decided to undertake a drain improvement project, the local conservation authority must be notified of the project initiation. The town of Innisfil has already completed these steps. Step 3 is retaining an engineer. Through a competitive process, RJ Burnside and Associates Limited was retained by the town of Innisfil, and Jeff Dixon is the engineer from Burnside leading this project. Jeff has several decades of experience working on drains. The Drainage Act gives Burnside staff the right of entry onto private land to perform any necessary work. The Act also requires Burnside to be fair and impartial in performing their duties under the Drainage Act. The purpose of the site meeting, step 4, is to provide participants with information on the Drainage Act, to provide background on the drainage project and the issues, to obtain comments and feedbacks from the property owners, road authorities, and utilities. This meeting is usually held at the site of the drainage problem or at an off-site location if it's better and safer conditions for the meeting. At the site meeting stage, no design work has been completed. No information is available on the drain design or on cost sharing. The site meeting, as Jeff described earlier, was initially scheduled for March 2020, but was postponed due to COVID restrictions. Step 5 is the survey. For Carson Creek, some drone and manual survey work has already been completed in the fall of 2019. However, more field work may still be required. The following is a video of the drone survey work.
This video begins at Killarney Beach Road and is moving from upstream to downstream or from west to east. You will notice the green is the trees located in the watershed, and the blue points are survey points where data was collected. As we move downstream, we're now approaching 20th Side Road, and you will see it coming up in the middle of the screen. We're now circling around 20th Side Road. And then we continue east. We're now approaching the Metrolinx line, and you will see it in the middle of the screen now, and a zoom in on it of the rail tracks. You now see George Street, and then we pass under Corner, Gilmore, Carson, and Ferrier Avenues. We pass under Ewart Street, and eventually Barry Avenue, and through to the outlet at Lake Simcoe.
A draft report is completed after step 6 is completed, the survey work. After completion of the field work, the data is analyzed and a solution is designed. The objective is to develop a solution to resolve the drainage issues in consultation with the regulatory agencies and in compliance with all environmental law and listening to the public. The draft report will also include an estimate of the total cost of the project and will show how the costs are proposed to be distributed amongst the property owners. It will also show the owners that need to be compensated for the use of land or provide them with damage allowances. This is a typical drainage plan that shows the watershed boundary, the location of the drain, the form of the drain, which can be channel, a pipe, or a combination thereof, property ownership and boundaries, including lots and concessions, property roll numbers, and other features such as roads, railways, and woodlots. Drainage systems under the Drainage Act are user pay, so the costs of the Carson Creek project will be shared by the more than 1,000 affected properties and roads in the watershed of the drain. But it will not be in equal shares. The Drainage Act identifies the factors that guide cost sharing, which include the land that actually benefits from the drain, which are usually the lands in the immediate vicinity of the drain, the area of land in the watershed that's contributing to the runoff, the use of the land, the proximity of the drain to the property, and the length of drain used. There are often also special additional assessments that are levied to road authorities and utilities. After Burnside completes a draft design, an information meeting is usually held in step 7. This is not a step that's required by the Drainage Act, but it provides an opportunity for the Burnside team to present and discuss the results of the proposed design with the property owners in a less formal setting before the Drainage Act process resumes. In step 8, the Burnside team finalizes the report. Comments received through the information meeting are considered and incorporated as appropriate into the final report. The final report is then sent to the municipality, and a date for the council meeting to consider the report is set, and a notice of this meeting and a copy of the report is sent to all assessed property owners in the watershed, all involved roads and utilities, and agencies such as the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. Step 9 is the meeting to consider the report, which is chaired by the head of council. The Burnside team will give an overview of the proposed project. Meeting participants can ask questions and express concerns. They can also try to influence the decision of council. However, this is not the opportunity to appeal the design or the cost sharing of the project. Only council makes decisions at this meeting. At the conclusion of the meeting, council can choose to 1, give 2 readings to a bylaw provisionally adopting the report, or 2, refer the report back to the engineer for modifications, or 3, stop the project. The appeal stage, step 10, begins when the town sends a copy of the provisional bylaw and a notice of the Court of Revision to all assessed property owners. The Court of Revision is a municipally appointed appeal body that hears appeals on assessment only. If owners think their share of the cost is too high or too low, an appeal to the Court of Revision can be filed with the town. There are also 2 provincially appointed appeal bodies. The tribunal is a panel who hears appeals from the decision of the Court of Revision and appeals on technical matters. The referee is an individual who hears appeals of a legal nature. After all appeals have been dealt with, the town gives 3rd and final reading to the bylaw. This authorizes the construction of the drainage system. The town then tenders the project and hires a contractor to perform the work. The work is performed in accordance with the adopted report and in compliance with all permits and approvals. The Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs has a program that provides a 1/3 grant towards assessment on agricultural land only. The town would apply to OMAFRA for the payment of these grants. To be eligible for these grants, your property must be assessed or taxed at the farm property class tax rate. For more information on this program, Google Farm Property Class Tax Rate Program. The town then levies the remaining cost to the involved property owners. This levy has the same status as property taxes. This was a summary of the Drainage Act process as it applies to the Carson Creek project. For more information on the Drainage Act or the Carson Creek project, your Burnside contact information will follow. Natalie Connell will now provide a summary and concluding remarks.
Thank you, Sid, for that presentation. So as we move forward with our process in preparing a report for the Carson Creek project, as Sid outlined, we would like to get feedback from you as the stakeholders. If you would like to provide input, the town has set up a forum for you to submit questions and comments. You can find the link to this forum in the town's webpage for the Carson Creek project and on the notice mailed to you for this presentation. We do request that all comments, feedback, and questions be submitted by the deadline indicated on the site. On behalf of the town and Burnside, we would like to thank you for your interest in the Carson Creek project and for taking time to watch this presentation. Contact information for the town will be provided, and contact information for Burnside staff is on the slide in front of you. Thank you.